Welcome back, guys. Today, after watching this video, you're gonna learn exactly to the T what I did to manifest losing 40 plus pounds without dieting, without restriction, and without any kinds of extremes. So let's not waste too much time getting right to it because I know you guys want to hear this, but just in case you're new, hi, I'm Jessie Riemann. And on this channel, I teach you the real reasons you're not losing weight and how to break free. And we also talk a lot about manifestation because it's really at the core of everything I teach. Hey, Editing Jessie here, realizing that I left a couple things out. So if you are ready to make things happen and get your success story, and you want me to teach you how to customize the things that you hear in this video to you and your story, then I would love to help you, and you can sign up for one-on-one coaching. I also have my 6-week Conquer Overshoot with Confidence online course. There's also a VIP option of the course, which includes 2 private one-on-one sessions with me. And without even realizing it, when I created this course at the time, there actually already are manifestation techniques within the course. I just didn't necessarily call them manifestation techniques, but within this course, not only will you learn the physical and the emotional reasons that your body is holding on to overshoot and what to do to help your body release that overshoot, but it also includes brain reprogramming techniques like affirmations, visualization, parts work to do deep internal healing, as well as how to deal with critical people when you have to deal with people criticizing your body. Literally everything that you need, including the things that we're going to talk about today with this video about manifesting weight loss, are in that course. So either option are in the description box below. All right, so today I have my iced coffee that I'm still finishing from this morning because we are filming in the morning. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, and let me tell you my story of exactly what I did to manifest losing 40 plus pounds. Again, no dieting, no extremes, no extreme exercise, no restriction, no changing of any of that stuff. Here we go. Hey guys, editing me again. I just wanted to record this audio to say, how do I know how much weight I lost when I am a big believer in not checking the scale? Well, I already knew that I wanted to be able to document this entire process, to be able to prove that it in fact works. So I really only checked my weight once during my recovery. It's possible I weighed more than what I discovered that day, but I only did it once. And then I did it again last year. And that's how I know. And I don't check my weight anymore at all because I trust my body. Okay, on with the show. I have 4 points for you today. I believe it's 4. And I saved the most powerful one for last. So be sure to stay tuned until the end because, you know, all of these together are what helped me make this happen. But you'll especially want to make sure that you start learning that particular one. So I am going to bring up the diet recovery piece first. If you feel like you don't need to hear information about diet recovery because you feel like you're already past that, you're more than welcome to skip past this part. If by any chance you don't know what diet recovery is yet because you're new here, I'm not going to use this video in particular to go into a whole lot of detail about diet recovery. I do already have a lot of videos on my channel about how to do that, but I think it's important to create separate videos on those topics so I can really delve deep and give you guys a whole lot more information and details. If there's anything specific that you want to know, leave it in the comment section below. But diet recovery, beyond a shadow of a doubt, was absolutely the catalyst to me being able to manifest losing weight like I did. And, you know, looking back on it, recovery really, wow, hair in my eye, was a manifestation for me in and of itself. Long story short, I remember not long before I discovered recovery wishing that there was a way for me to be able to eat whatever I want, have a really healthy body and a healthy metabolism without ever having to diet or restrict. So diet recovery was definitely the first step to this, and I definitely don't think I ever would have gotten where I did without diet recovery. It was incredibly necessary for healing and replenishing my poor, starved body that I had spent the last 15 years trying to force to lose weight. And mind you, when I started recovery, I was not in a lean or underweight body, but I definitely still needed the healing. It helped me develop the best relationship with food that I've ever had in my life, and I now 100% trust my body when it tells me what it needs and what it wants. And I also believe that it really laid the foundation for healing and speeding up my metabolism and healing my thyroid. Don't worry, for those of you who've been stuck at this point, I'm going to explain what else needs to be done, because it wasn't just diet recovery that made this happen, okay? Stay with me. So certain things were definitely improving. Certain aspects of my health and well-being were improving, but just like all of you have experienced, I had gained more weight than I had ever gained at one time in my life before, and I was in my all-time heaviest body. And just like you, I remember thinking, okay, I've checked all the boxes. I'm eating unrestrictedly. I now have a healthier relationship with food than I ever have before. I'm not pushing my body to extremes anymore. How come the weight's not coming off? Here's what I eventually realized, and then I'm going to teach to you, is that as long as we are still identifying as the same person that we were before we even started diet recovery, and as long as we still are describing ourselves and identifying as somebody who struggles with losing weight or has a slow metabolism, or we call ourselves fat, etc., that's exactly what's going to keep manifesting. Because here's something that I want to make clearer. When you focus on manifesting, you want to try to focus on not doing these manifestation practices to get things. It's so much more effective, and this is actually how it works, to focus on it as I am manifesting so that I become the person that I believe I would be if I had the healthy metabolism, the body I want, the money I want, the love I want, and so on. And the most basic aspect beyond what I just described about you don't get what you want, you get who you become, is this: life always has to reflect your internal state. So what I had to first do was realize, okay, what if this is what I'm continuing to see with my body, is that I'm not losing this weight. That is a reflection of what's going on in my internal state, how I see myself, how I think about my body, how I describe my body. And once I realized this, I started to pay attention to just how often, anytime I might get emotional about feeling like, I was in my heaviest body and it was really hard and the weight wasn't coming off, I was listening to exactly how I was describing these circumstances. And I was paying attention to, as soon as I would look in the mirror, I would immediately get triggered and I would react, or, clothes fitting differently or looking in a mirror. I already said mirror. But basically I was reacting to seeing something that, I didn't want to see. And just in reacting to it, we're essentially keeping things exactly the way we are, because each time we react and we're saying, oh my gosh, look at me, look at all the cellulite and look at all this fat, and oh my gosh, I'm not losing weight, I'm actually gaining weight, etc., we are continuing to confirm who we believe we are, which means that nothing can change as long as my state, my internal state, continues to be things like, I see myself as somebody who's not losing weight. And then I had all the same thoughts that most of us have come up, which were,
yeah, but if I don't focus on this, it's not going to get better.
But again, as long as thinking like that is my most consistent state of being, then how can I expect anything else but to continue to see me be somebody who struggles to lose weight, continues to gain weight, it's really, really hard, etc., So I had to start by realizing I've already spent, 15 plus years thinking these kinds of things about myself. And it hasn't mattered whether I was on a diet or doing diet recovery as to whether or not I still thought this way and felt this way and worried about all these things. And then I started to realize, oh yeah, wait a minute, that's because I keep being this exact same person. So that's what continues to be reflected no matter what actions I take. So what had to start first is I had to get so sick and tired of living in that state as somebody, again, who was always so critical of my body and constantly focused on what's wrong with it and why weight loss is so hard. I had this moment, which is what you have to get to, where I realized I'm sick of this. Something's got to change. And clearly, that something is not any action I'm going to take. It's got to start in here. This shift began to happen where Just like anything else, when you finally create a big change in your life, it always starts with your mindset. So the very first thing that I started to incorporate was affirmations. And it's one of the many ways to go about manifesting. So I'll definitely do other videos in the future talking about all the different manifestation techniques, which I'll say right now, there is no one perfect technique. All that the techniques are designed to do is help you get to the feeling of being in the state of already having what you want, already being the person who has all of it, which means that if you already had whatever it is you want, in this case we're talking about weight loss, but this really goes for anything, you wouldn't be worried about not having it. You wouldn't be questioning when it's going to come. It would become just as normal as having the car that you have right now, or, having the piece of jewelry that you saw on the website or in the store that you really, really wanted. Once you buy it, it's new, it's cool, it's exciting for a little while, and then it becomes normal, doesn't it? Because it's just like anything else that you have in your life. Now, obviously, it's important to remember to be grateful for the things that we have in our life, which is a whole separate point. But basically, all these manifestation techniques are just designed to help you take on more of the feeling of that state and to help you release as much resistance around it as possible so that you really do feel more often like you already are that person, like you already have those things. Not everybody resonates with these kinds of affirmations, but like I said, I was serious. I wasn't about trying to go about this from a half-assed, I'm scared, what if, so I should do this really minimally and work my courage up. No, I was like, I want to become this person now. So again, if I already was this person who in this case had already lost this weight, what is it that I want to become as a result of losing that weight? And I started to ask myself, okay, I'm like, if I had already lost the weight, I believe that I would be a confident person. I believe that I would dress the way that I want to. I believe that I wouldn't have insecurity about going out in public and having people see me. I believe that I would feel attractive. You get the idea, but these are the things that I got clear about first. So I was like, okay, that's the person I need to become. So I'm not going to start out with basically some affirmations that show that I'm holding back. I was like, I'm going to do this with gusto. Again, realize that this isn't fake it till you make it, okay? This is about deciding that you're ready to become that person and that you're going to take on that energy more of the time. Because if you already were that person, that would naturally be how you are, whatever it means for you. So these things that I'm saying might not be what you perceive or who you want to become. This is just me telling my story. So I started with the affirmations like, I love my body. My body is effortlessly healthy and lean. I can eat whatever I want and have a healthy metabolism. So these were the kinds of things that I decided to start saying to myself out loud every single morning and every single evening. So I started out with that. Then as I started to realize that, okay, well, I'm doing those affirmations in the morning and at night, but then I'm going back to my negative thinking throughout the day because that's a habit. It's a habit that you have to break. Then I started to realize, okay, I need to be shifting my mindset to anytime I watch myself thinking those negative things or saying those negative things about my body, it's not just about flipping them. It's about, would I be thinking things like this if I already had that body, if I already was that person? The answer is no. So I started to pay closer attention and try to say, okay, but that's that's what I was going to say earlier. Every negative circumstance that you keep seeing, I want you to remind yourself of this every time you get triggered by your 3D reality. Everything that you're seeing happen, continuing to happen that you don't like, is only a reflection of everything that you have believed yourself to be up to this point. So when you see it show up, you can just be like, yeah, that's just a reflection of who I used to be. I'm not that person anymore. And as long as you continue to keep coming back to the state of feeling like you are the person as much as you can that you want to become, that eventually has to reflect in your life, in your 3D. It absolutely has to. Again, that's the reason that everything that you have right now that you don't want exists, is because that's been your constant state for all this time. So that's all the proof you need. The next thing I started to do was, because of who the person that I believed I would be, if I already was this person with this feeling about my body, then I was like, I'm going to change my style. I'm going to change my posture. I'm going to change my general attitude. I started to say, okay, no matter what, I'm going to find clothes that not only fit and are comfortable right now, but that also make me feel like me, and they make me feel attractive, and they make me feel good about myself. So I started to play around with style, and eventually I developed a style, which I eventually ended up changing a little bit. But I was wearing the vibrant, bright colors. Today is not an example of that, but you guys know how much I love bright, vibrant colors. And I started to learn new makeup techniques. This is just a side note. I didn't grow up learning how to do makeup. My mom was a tomboy, and I really didn't learn how to do anything really well with makeup until about the point of my diet recovery. So I started to learn that. I changed my hairstyle, and then because as you guys know, I was still a full-time personal trainer, and I worked at this bodybuilder gym. I own my own business, but I trained my clients out of this bodybuilder gym where not everybody, but a lot of the people, especially people that had known me already for several years, were super shredded and really like lean and everything, right? Constantly dieting. Let's add that, and constantly doing extremes. But I was like, if I already was this version of me, then I would walk in there every day as a confident person with my head held high, making eye contact with people, smiling at them, knowing that I have internal worth. Now, was this super easy? No. But we keep coming back to, if I wanted to become this new version of me, I wasn't ever going to become her by continuing to be the girl who constantly feels insecure and carries herself like an insecure person and dresses like an insecure person and talks to people as if I am an insecure person. You get the idea. I had to shift this. So again, keep making your why who you want to become. And you're sick and tired of your old state, right? You're sick and tired of continuing to live this life where you feel incredibly insecure, your health doesn't improve, you struggle to lose weight, or you continuously gain weight no matter what you do. I'm sure it affects other areas of your life too. You gotta get really sick and tired of living that life. And when you do, you'll be like, I get it now. I have to shift my internal state before that will ever be reflected in everything else in my life, in my body, in my health, and so on. The next piece that I incorporated for me personally was by far the most powerful, and that is visualization. So I've been talking about this lately, but I'm going to say it again. Your subconscious mind actually does not, science has proven this, it doesn't know the difference between what you imagine in your mind and what you see in your 3D external reality. So the really cool thing about this is, if you want to shift your internal state so that you become the version that you want to be, and then as a byproduct, all the things that you want to manifest actually start happening. If you start seeing it in your mind first, that you're already that person. You're already the person that you want to become, who has the things that you want to have already. It's normal for you. Then if you practice imagining that that's already happened, you're already that person often enough, your subconscious is like,
Oh, I'm already that person.
I already have these things. I'm already living this life. And so first things first, what that's going to do, you already are going to start to have that belief without having to consciously try to force yourself to believe in it. Then what that's also going to do is your subconscious mind is going to build new neural pathways, which are going to lead to new ideas, inspired actions. You're going to attract situations and people to you that you never would have before. It's going to change everything energetically. So this is why this is such a powerful manifestation technique, if you want to call it that. And so I started to do a daily visualization practice, which I ended up falling off of with other things, and I just started reincorporating back in my life, which is why you're going to hear me talk about it a lot. But that was like 10 minutes. And I would imagine not how it was going to happen. This is very, very important. Don't worry about the how. That's not your job to figure out. All you need to do is when you create this visualization, you imagine it as if it is already your current life. Imagine it as if it's as normal as everything that you have in your life now. Now, for me personally, I like to incorporate the feelings of feeling happy or excited about it because in my experience, that has drawn things to me faster and more efficiently. But you absolutely don't have to do that. I know some people don't like to do that. They just like to manifest the calm and neutral feeling of already having it. But however you decide to go about it, you're again not manifesting how you get there. It's living in the end, as they tend to say in the manifestation law of assumption community. And I did that almost every single day. And it started to create massive changes. And that is why, for those of you who look at my story and you're like, how come you were able to do it so fast and lose the overshoot weight so fast, and I'm, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and it's not happening at all, okay? It's because of this exact reason, because you haven't shifted your internal state. You're still trying to lose weight from the person that you've already been this whole time, from all of these negative beliefs, all of these negative feelings about yourself, about your body, about your metabolism, about food, and so on. None of that will ever change until you decide to shift this state. And so doing things like affirmations and visualization are designed to help you feel more like you're already that person, which then, of course, like I said, is going to lead to you becoming that person. As long as you keep coming back to that state consistently over and over. It's okay to have days where you fall off, where you react, where you get triggered. I'm human. It happens to me too. It happened to me while this weight was coming off, okay? I got triggered, but then I kept coming back to the state of who would I be if I had already lost the weight? Who would I be if my metabolism was already super healthy, okay? So it's about continuing to come back to that. And the last thing that I did was I started to incorporate a lot more things that I actually enjoyed doing, because the person that I wanted to become would not be somebody who would focus on her body all day, every day, food and her weight and the scale and all this stuff, right? The person I wanted to become was somebody who had a life that had freedom beyond this life of food and my weight and my eating disorder and so on. So again, for me, those things were incorporating singing and eventually dancing back into my life, and hanging out with my friends, and learning more about manifestation and getting into spirituality and so many other things. It doesn't matter what those things are, as long as they're things that bring you joy. Maybe you don't know what brings you joy yet, so this is your opportunity to start exploring it. But there really is so much to be said for, yes, do these manifestation practices, manifest anything that you want so that ultimately you become the person that you want to become. But in the meantime, isn't becoming that person meaning that your life is going to be more than your body, right? And trust me when I say, if you think that waiting until you lose weight is going to finally give you this opportunity to start enjoying life and being able to do the things that you want to do, you are sorely, sorely mistaken, my friend. You have to become that version first. I know I've said that multiple times throughout this video, but sometimes repetition, including for myself, is so incredibly important before it finally sinks in and something, wow, that was a crappy snap, clicks, and we go, oh, okay, now I get it. But even sometimes when we get it, because our brain is so used to being wired for the person that we've always been and have always had these limiting beliefs, we got to be reminded of it sometimes and be like, oh yeah, okay, the person that I want to become would not be constantly checking the scale. The person that I want to become would not be worried about her weight, their weight all the time, because I would already be somebody that doesn't have to worry about those kind of things. So you'd come back to your visualization process, you'd come back to your affirmations or scripting or whatever it is that works for you. Again, we'll talk more about these if you want me. Well, I'm just going to anyway, because we need it, okay? But you keep coming back to those practices, realizing that especially when it comes to visualization, you guys, if you are feeling like you're not in the circumstances that you want to be, all you have to do is this. And feel the feelings and imagine that it's already happened. And your subconscious is like,
oh, okay, I'm already there again.
You keep coming back to that. You go back there enough times, I promise you, your life has no choice but to reflect everything that you've been most predominantly programming in here, especially through visualization. And then, as you've seen, through the different pictures and explanations that I've released over the past 5 years, the weight came off. And now that's why you're seeing, the pictures that I show you guys today, is because I decided already to become that version of me before it had ever even happened. I can tell you for certain that if back then, 5 years ago, I would have chosen to stay the person who worried about her weight and checked her weight and constantly body checked and carried myself as an insecure person everywhere and decided I was not going to let myself experience life until I had lost weight, and continued to believe that the foods I was eating were hurting my body and hurting my digestion and hurting my metabolism and so on and so forth, that's exactly where I'd still be today. I have zero doubt in my mind. And this is the shift that has to take place for you to be able to have this happen. If weight loss is something that you keep trying to achieve, it's not because of the actions you're taking, because again, you could follow the diet recovery process to the T. That, for that matter, if you're brand new here, you could follow any super healthy, cleanest diet to the T. You could exercise every single day of your life. You could take all the supplements that are supposed to help with your metabolism. You could do all those things. And as long as you still see yourself and identify as the person who struggles with losing weight, none of that stuff will work especially long term. For those of you who've experienced short-term results, the reason you always end up returning back here, in addition to, being cruel to your body through dieting, it really comes back to this. It really comes back to because you never changed your internal state. So that's the area you've got to focus on. Manifestation is, again, not about doing all the techniques to finally get what you want. It's about you got to become that version first. Everything that you want will come to you, will happen as a byproduct. I promise you. Hey guys, there's something really important that I forgot to say that I really, really need to add in here. So losing that 40 plus pounds that I have has been a gradual process. You guys have seen that through the pictures that I have shown you. But here's the thing, that never would have happened if I had been constantly checking to see if it was working, meaning checking the scale or body checking or what have you. Because in the beginning, especially when it was so gradual, I didn't notice it until my clothes started fitting consistently differently. But even then, because at first it started off so slowly, I could have easily, if I would have checked the scale or something like that, convinced myself that it wasn't working. So when we continue to check to see if this is working, that implies that it's not working, right? Or that we are not already the person who has already lost the weight. Because again, the person who already has would just be living life as if they don't have to worry about stuff like that. So I can tell you for a fact that if I would have been checking to see if it was working, it would have stalled the entire process. I definitely believe it's always possible to get back on track. But again, because it, especially at first, was happening so gradually, there's no way that if I was checking it, I would have noticed it. And then that only would have continued to make me confirm that, oh yeah, see, it's not working. And I'm the kind of person who doesn't lose weight or can't lose weight, or in fact, maybe even would start to believe that I'm gaining weight. So this absolutely can happen faster than it happened for me, because it took me a long time of gathering all this different information and the knowledge, as well as the just general understanding. The thing that just, like I said, clicked for me, where I was like, oh yeah, it is about continuing to become the version of me who already has lost the weight. And is living the life I would be living. Not so much even focusing on the weight loss itself, but what would I be doing? I wouldn't be focused on my weight all the time, right? So, okay, just wanted to add that in there. So that is everything that I did to manifest losing 40 plus pounds. And I still use all of these techniques in my life for other things, but now truly, I am the person who doesn't worry about her weight anymore. I don't worry that any kind of food affects my weight or my metabolism, because I'm just this person now. I fully believe it. I've seen it work. Again, I believe it because I saw the results, but I still had to become that version before I saw the results. So hopefully this is showing you concrete proof that becoming that person first is what leads to this. So if you guys have any further questions, please leave them in the comment box below. I sincerely hope that this helped and inspired you to finally get sick of being stuck in the old state and to shift that state so that you can become this version of you. And then, like I said, as a byproduct, you're going to manifest the weight loss or anything else that you want to manifest. So if you did like this video, please don't forget to give me a really big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Love you guys so much. Have an amazing day.